One of our favorite multi-day rides is the Great Allegheny Passage, otherwise known as the Gap. It runs from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Cumberland, Maryland, a distance of about 150 miles. It is a pleasant, easy route with a lot to see and has become the gold standard for rails to trail routes in the United States. The trail follows the Monongahela, Youghiogheny, and Castleman River valleys over the Appalachian Mountains. So from Pittsburgh, the route ascends slowly and then drops off in a glorious 22-mile downhill run into Cumberland. Conversely, you can start in Cumberland and power through the 22-mile uphill and descend to Pittsburgh for the next few days. We decided to start our ride in Pittsburgh, and on a dreary Saturday morning, we parked the car and loaded up for our ride. We parked at the parking garage near the train station. I'll provide GPS coordinates and addresses will be listed in the video description. And we biked down the Allegheny River to Pittsburgh Point State Park. It is worth noting that if you park in this garage overnight, you'll need to stop at the main office to fill out a form. At Point State Park, there are a lot of great pictures to grab, so take your time and get the shots. There is an official-looking Point of Confluence placard on the point side of the fountain, which makes a great picture. When you leave the park, you follow the Three Rivers Heritage Trail along the Monongahela River to the official start of the Gap Trail, which is near the intersection of Fort Pitt Boulevard and Grand Street. Again, GPS coordinates are in the description. From there, the ride runs through what used to be all heavy steel industry. It has come a long way since, but you will constantly find relics of this past, either in the structures or in the art. You will cross the hot metal bridge not far from downtown, which is always a great city shot, and then up the Monongahela River towards Mckeesport. You know you're getting close to Mckeesport when you cross the Monongahela River again. Getting through Mckeesport can be tricky, but as long as you keep an eye on the signage, you'll make it. I'll also drop a GPS coordinate at the far side of Mckeesport in case you get lost. After Mckeesport, the trail officially turns to crushed limestone, and the trail really starts to show its personality as it stakes its way up the Youghiogheny River Valley. We hit some rain on the first day, and decided to stop at the Dravos Cemetery Pavilion to get out of the rain and grab a snack. The cemetery has a lot of history, and it's a good place to stop for a break. After that, our next stop was the Fox's Pizza Den in West Newton, where I learned to love their Hawaiian pizza. Our final stop on the first day is Connellsville, around mile marker 90. We chose to do 60 miles on our first day since the first 20 miles are paved, the elevation change is minimal, and we're fresh. This will leave us with roughly 45 miles for each of the 2 remaining days. In Connellsville, we stayed trailside at the Comfort Inn, which has reasonable rates, hose to clean the bikes, and is okay with us taking our bikes into our room. There are lots of places to find food in Connellsville, but we chose the very aptly named Kickstand Cafe. The following morning, we set out east towards the village of Ohiopyle, about 15 miles away. The Youghiogheny River is well known as a whitewater river, and the village of Ohiopyle is where whitewater adventures on the yacht start. The village has lots of places to eat, a few bike shops, and probably half a dozen river adventure outfitters. There's a waterfall on the other side of town from the trail that is worth a stop for a few pictures. Having only 45 miles to ride for the day, and all day to do it, we took our time and every opportunity to appreciate our surroundings, including dips in the Yacht and ice cream in the town of Confluence. The Castleman River is a very scenic river, and one of the tunnel transits that you're going to do on this trail is the Pinkerton Tunnel, not far before Rockwood. Our final destination for the night was the town of Rockwood, and specifically the Gingerbread House B&B. There are 2 bed and breakfasts in Rockwood, a hostel, and the Husky Haven Campground. In addition, the Husky Haven Campground has a house for rent that is $50 per person. It sleeps 8, has a washer and dryer, and some bike maintenance tools. Although the B&B has a breakfast in the morning, we decided to get an early start and catch breakfast in the town of Meyersdale, about 12 miles away. Along the way, you cross the Salisbury Viaduct, which is over 1,000 feet long and presents some really nice views of the valley. In Meyersdale, we headed down the hill to the GI Day Room Coffee Shop for a hearty and well-presented breakfast. The average grade of the Gap is said to be about 2%, which is barely perceptible, but on this last day you definitely start to see and feel the slight uphills. Eventually, you will hit the highest point of the Gap when you cross the Eastern Continental Divide. There is a mural on the inside of the tunnel that highlights the elevation changes throughout the ride, and it puts into perspective the downhill ride that is just around the corner. But first you'll go through the longest tunnel in the Gap, the Big Savage Tunnel. This tunnel is over 3,000 feet long and is well lit enough that you can get by without a headlamp. When you come out of the tunnel, you will be presented with a beautiful vista that is a perfect place for some pictures. From here, it is all downhill for roughly 22 miles into Cumberland. But not long before you start your downhill, you will cross the Mason-Dixon line, which again is worth the pictures. Then just kick back and let gravity do the work. There are some nice sculptures worth a stop in Frostburg and some beautiful vistas along the way, but eventually you make your way into Cumberland down to the terminus of the Gap, which is also the terminus for another bike trail, the C&O Towpath Trail, which we have done and look forward to doing again so we can make a proper video. Now, how to get home. On our first trip to the Gap, we had 24 people, and we chartered 2 vans to drive us back to Pittsburgh from Cumberland. I'll post a link to the shuttle company in the description. The second time, it was just Michelle and I, so we rented a car from Hertz, drove to Pittsburgh, picked up our car at the train station, then dropped off the rental at the Pittsburgh airport. I hope this video has helped you in your trip planning, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. And if you like our content, please share our videos and subscribe to our channel so you can get updates on our adventures.